I opened my eyes, and the first thing I saw was a ceiling that definitely wasn't mine. The second disturbing detail: my left hand weighed about 5 pounds more than yesterday. I raised my arm slowly, almost afraid to confirm, and there it was. A diamond ring so massive it probably needed its own zip code, and beside it, engraved in rose gold, Garrett and Sloane, Viva Las Vegas. My stomach dropped. I turned my head on the silk pillowcase, also not mine, and came face to face with Garrett Hawthorne, my boss, the man who in 3 years of working together had never greeted me without staring at his phone screen. The 34-year-old CEO who treated employees like chess pieces and who, at last night's party, handed me his empty glass like I was a walking coat rack. He was sleeping on his stomach, face half buried in the pillow, dark brown hair completely disheveled, shirtless. Compass tattoo on his left shoulder that I definitely didn't know existed. Worse, he was wearing a matching ring. No, 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 I whispered, climbing out of the king-sized bed like I was defusing a bomb. My wobbly legs found the cold marble floor. I was wearing a men's MIT t-shirt and nothing else. I hunted for my clothes around the ridiculously luxurious hotel room, finding my blue dress from yesterday, the one I wore to the company team bonding party, tossed near an empty bottle of artisanal tequila. Because, of course, Garrett Hawthorne only drank tequila with a pedigree. Near the minibar, a paper caught my attention. I grabbed it with trembling hands. Certificate of Marriage, State of Nevada. Garrett Miles Hawthorne and Sloane River, Bennett Little Whitechapel, Las Vegas. Envy officiant, Elvis Presley, impersonator, licensed. I had to sit on the edge of the bathtub. Sloane River Bennett, financial analyst, 28 years old. Responsible, sensible. The person who always triple-checked before hitting send on any email. Now, apparently, Mrs. Hawthorne. You okay in there or planning to live in the bathroom? I nearly jumped 3 feet in the air. Garrett was leaning against the door frame in gray sweatpants. Since when did he wear sweatpants? Scratching the back of his neck. His eyes, gray-green and always so calculated, looked genuinely confused. My voice came out strange. Garrett, we got married. Ah. He looked at his own left hand as if seeing it for the first time. That explains the ring, and the Elvis guy who kept singing Love Me Tender for 20 minutes. You remember? Fragments. Garrett ran a hand over his face. I remember Lennox daring me to do something unforgettable before 35. I remember you saying I was a corporate robot with no heart. I remember proving you were wrong. By marrying me? In my defense, it seemed like a revolutionary idea at 3 in the morning. He had the audacity to almost smile. Almost. As if this was funny. Besides, you agreed. Enthusiastically, according to Elvis. My memory started coming back in horrible flashes. Me laughing too loud. Garrett saying something about needing real emotions in life. Both of us running down the strip. Me yelling, "Let's do this," as I walked into a neon chapel. What a disaster. We need to undo this now. I pointed at the certificate like it was a weapon. Annulment. Divorce. Anything that erases this nightmare. Garrett crossed his arms, and for the first time in 3 years of working together, he really looked at me. Not at the space behind me. Not through me. At me. Those eyes traveled across my face with an intensity that made something strange happen in my stomach. You know what's funny, Sloane? He took 2 steps closer. I've worked with you for 3 years. You organize my entire life. Remember my birthday before my own mother does. Pick better gifts than my executive assistant. And until yesterday, I didn't know you had a dimple on your left side when you're nervous. I instinctively covered my face. Doesn't change anything. This was a mistake. You don't even like me. Technically, now I have legal obligations to you. The corner of his mouth lifted. A smile? Garrett Hawthorne was smiling, which creates an interesting situation. What situation? He grabbed his phone from the nightstand, typed something quickly, and turned the screen toward me. It was an email from the Hawthorne and Associates board sent 2 hours ago. Congratulations to our CEO, Garrett Hawthorne, on his surprise wedding. The company eagerly awaits meeting Mrs. Hawthorne at Thursday's gala dinner. My vision darkened around the edges. Lennox sent it to everyone, I whispered. My dear cousin loves drama. Garrett pocketed his phone. So we have 72 hours until the dinner where all of Boston wants to meet my whirlwind wife. I'm going to kill Lennox, then kill myself. that order. Or, he tilted his head, studying my face again in that unsettling way. We could do something different. Something in his tone made me stop panicking. Different how? Garrett shrugged. Too casual for someone discussing an accidental marriage. Pretend for 3 months. Then we separate as civilized adults who realized we're incompatible. The company calms down. My family stops pushing me toward the country club partner's daughter. You get... He paused, thoughtful. What do you want, Sloan? The question caught me off guard. Nobody asked what I wanted, especially not Garrett Hawthorne. I swallowed hard. I want the senior manager promotion you've denied me 6 times. His eyes sparkled with something like respect. 3 months as an exemplary wife. At the end, the promotion is yours, with a 40% raise in your own office. My rational brain screamed to refuse. But that promotion was everything I'd worked for the past 3 years. And let's face it, 3 months pretending beside a man who barely looked at me? I could maintain emotional distance in my sleep. Rules. I lifted my chin. No, real couple stuff. Nothing physical. Agreed. Performance only in public. And you stop treating me like furniture. If we're going to fake this, you need to at least pretend you know my full name. Sloan River Bennett, he said without hesitation, surprising me. Birthday March 14th. Addicted to iced coffee even in winter. You have this way of wrinkling your nose when you're concentrating. You've worn the same vanilla perfume for 2 years. I froze. You noticed those things? Garrett extended his hand, formal, as if we were closing a business deal, which technically we were. 3 months, wife, do we have an agreement? I looked at that hand, at the new ring on his finger, at the corner smile that completely transformed his normally serious face. Worst idea of your life, Sloan. But I shook his hand anyway. Deal, husband. And when our fingers touched, an electric shock ran up my arm. From the way Garrett's eyes widened slightly, he felt it too. 3 months. What could go wrong in 3 months of fake marriage with the man who never noticed me? The flight back to Boston was awkward in ways I didn't know existed. Garrett had booked us first-class seats, together naturally, and spent the first hour typing furiously on his laptop, while I pretended to read a magazine I'd grabbed at the airport. I'd read the same article about organizing your closet 4 times and still couldn't tell you what it said. We need ground rules, Garrett said suddenly, closing his laptop. I jumped, nearly dropping my 3rd complimentary mimosa. I thought we established those. Those were the basic framework. Now we need the operational details. He pulled out his phone and opened a notes app like we were in a board meeting. First, living arrangements. My penthouse has 3 bedrooms. You'll take the guest suite. Wait, we're living together? Sloan. He gave me that look, the one he used when someone suggested something illogical in a presentation. We're married. Married people generally cohabitate. Fake married, I hissed, glancing around to make sure no one heard. Which requires real commitment to the performance. He typed something. You'll need to move your essentials in today. We can arrange for the rest later. My brain was still catching up. I have a lease, a security deposit, plants that will die without me. I'll cover the lease buyout. Hire someone for your plants. This works better if we're convincing. He scrolled through his notes. Second, public displays of affection. What's your comfort level? I choked on my mimosa. Excuse me? Hand-holding, definitely necessary. Arm around your waist, probably required at formal events. Kissing? He actually looked up from his phone to gauge my reaction. We should establish boundaries now before we're put on the spot. My face felt like it was on fire. I hadn't thought about kissing. Well, start thinking. Because at Thursday's gala, every board member and their spouse will be watching us like hawks. He tilted his head, studying me with those unsettling gray-green eyes. Have you ever been kissed, Sloan? Of course I've been kissed, I sputtered. I've had 3 serious relationships, and why are we discussing my romantic history? The corner of his mouth twitched. Was he enjoying this? Because, he said slowly, we need to look like people who've kissed each other before. Multiple times, enthusiastically. I grabbed my mimosa and downed the rest. Fine, kissing is acceptable. In public, when absolutely necessary. Good, he made another note. Third, the backstory. How did we fall in love? We didn't fall in love. We got drunk in Vegas. Yes, but no one knows that except us and Elvis. Garrett leaned back in his seat, somehow making airplane seating look elegant. We need a plausible story, something that explains why a CEO would elope with his financial analyst. You could try telling them the truth. You had a mental breakdown. He almost smiled. Almost. Here's what I'm thinking. We've been secretly dating for 6 months. Kept it quiet because of company policy. Vegas was spontaneous but felt right. We're taking it slow on the public front. 6 months? I shook my head. Nobody will believe that. You barely acknowledged my existence until yesterday. Exactly, that's what makes it believable. Garrett's eyes locked onto mine. I was deliberately distant to hide our relationship. Classic CEO move to avoid favoritism accusations. I hated that it actually made sense. Fine, 6 months of secret dating, what else? Pet names. He said it so casually I thought I'd misheard. What? Married couples have pet names. What would you call me? I stared at him. Garrett? Too formal. We're supposedly in love, Sloan. Think softer. My brain short-circuited trying to imagine calling this man anything soft. I don't know. Honey? Babe? Even saying them felt ridiculous. Try them out. See what feels natural. Absolutely not. Sloan. His voice dropped lower, almost playful. We're going to have to sell this. Practice helps. You practice. He set down his phone and shifted in his seat to face me fully. All right. Hey, sweetheart. Would you like another drink? The word sweetheart in his deep voice did something weird to my nervous system. That's adequate, I managed. Your turn. Nope. Sloan. Garrett. I will call you honey when there are witnesses. Right now, you're still my boss who accidentally married me in Vegas. Can we please maintain some professional distance while we're 30,000 feet in the air? He studied me for a long moment, then nodded. Fair enough, but we're practicing before Thursday. The flight attendant appeared with perfect timing. Can I get you two anything? You make such a lovely couple, by the way. Garrett's hand immediately found mine on the armrest. Thank you. We're newlyweds, actually. My fake smile felt like it might crack my face. How wonderful, congratulations. The attendant beamed. This calls for champagne. On the house. As she walked away, I tried to pull my hand back, but Garrett held firm. Practice, he murmured. See? That wasn't so difficult. Except his thumb was now tracing lazy circles on my palm, and my heart was doing things hearts definitely shouldn't do during fake marriages. You can let go now, I whispered. Not yet. She's still watching. But even after the attendant disappeared into the galley, his hand stayed exactly where it was. We landed in Boston 3 hours later with a detailed contract of lies, and my hand still tingling from where he'd held it. Garrett's penthouse was exactly what I expected. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the harbor, minimalist furniture that probably cost more than my yearly salary, and absolutely zero personality. Your room is down that hall, second door. He set down his bag and immediately started scrolling through his phone. Back to business mode. I'll have my assistant coordinate the furniture delivery for your things. Make a list of what you need immediately. I wandered down the hallway, peeking into what would apparently be my bedroom for the next 3 months. It was bigger than my entire apartment. The bed alone could sleep 4 people comfortably. There's a walk-in closet and ensuite bathroom. Garrett called out. If you need anything... His doorbell rang, cutting him off. We both froze. Expecting someone? I asked. His face had gone slightly pale. My mother. Your what? The doorbell rang again, more insistently this time. She texted during the flight. I didn't read it. Garrett ran a hand through his hair, the first crack in his composure I'd seen all day. She's excited about the wedding. Wants to meet you. Now I'm wearing airplane clothes. I haven't showered. I don't know anything about you. Quick facts. I'm an only child. She's a retired art dealer. She loves gardening and hates my work hours. Call her Victoria, not Mrs. Hawthorne. And for heaven's sake, he stopped himself, pulling me close with one hand on my waist. Act like you love me. The doorbell rang a third time. She has a key, Garrett muttered. She's about to use it. Sure enough, we heard the distinct sound of a lock turning. Garrett? Darling, are you home? A woman's voice echoed through the penthouse, followed by the click of heels on hardwood. Garrett looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Pure panic. Kiss me, he whispered urgently. What? Now, make it look real. Before I could protest, his lips were on mine, and every single thought in my head evaporated. This wasn't the polite, rehearsed kiss I'd been imagining. This was complete. His hand slid into my hair, tilting my head just slightly as his mouth moved against mine, with devastating precision. He kissed like he did everything else, with total confidence and absolute control, except there was something underneath that control, something that felt almost desperate. I forgot we were fake married. I forgot his mother was walking toward us. I forgot my own name. When he pulled back, his eyes were darker than I'd ever seen them, his breathing slightly uneven. "There you are." Victoria Hawthorne appeared in the hallway, and I jumped away from Garrett like I'd been electrocuted. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt." But she was smiling, beaming, actually. "Mom." Garrett's voice was steadier than mine would have been. "This is Sloane. Sloane, my mother, Victoria." Victoria was elegant in that effortless way some women achieved. Silver blonde hair in a perfect bob, cream-colored pantsuit, genuine warmth in her eyes that were the same shape as her son's. "Sloane, the woman who finally caught my impossible son." She pulled me into a hug before I could react. "I've been telling him for years he needed someone to shake up his boring life. And you did it spectacularly." Thank you." I glanced at Garrett for help, but he just looked vaguely amused. "Vegas," Victoria laughed, pulling back to study my face. "I never thought my straight-laced son had it in him. Tell me everything. How did he propose? No, wait, let me guess. Did he make a PowerPoint presentation?" "Mom, he did, didn't he? With charts and graphs showing why you'd be compatible." I couldn't help it, I laughed. "Actually, there was an Elvis impersonator involved." Victoria's eyes lit up. "Even better. Garrett, honey, you might be more interesting than I thought." For the next hour, Victoria asked approximately 800 questions while we sat in Garrett's living room. She wanted to know how we met. I let Garrett handle that one. What I did, financial analysts seemed to impress her. And whether we were planning a proper reception, Garrett smoothly deflected. What surprised me was how easily the lies came. Or maybe they weren't complete lies. I did think Garrett was brilliant, just also infuriating. I did notice things about him, like how he always stirred his coffee exactly 3 times, or how he loosened his tie when he was thinking hard about something. Victoria noticed me noticing. "You look at him like he hung the moon," she said softly when Garrett excused himself to take a call. My cheeks heated. "I just pay attention." "It's more than that, dear." She patted my hand. "That boy has needed someone to really see him for years. I'm glad it's you." Guilt twisted in my stomach. This wonderful woman thought her son had found real love, and in 3 months we'd be breaking her heart with our fake divorce. When Garrett returned, Victoria stood to leave. "Thursday night at the gala, I expect you both to save me a dance." She kissed Garrett's cheek, then mine. "Welcome to the family, Sloane. You're the best thing that's happened to him in years." After she left, silence filled the penthouse. "Your mother is lovely," I said quietly. "She is." Garrett's expression was unreadable. "And she's going to be devastated in 3 months." "I know." More silence. "About that kiss," I started. "Practice," he said quickly. "We should probably practice more before Thursday. Make sure it looks natural." "Right, practice." My lips still tingled from the memory. Very professional. His eyes met mine, and something passed between us, a question neither of us knew how to ask. "I'll order dinner," Garrett said, breaking eye contact first. "You should unpack what you brought." As I walked to my temporary bedroom, I touched my lips and wondered what I'd just gotten myself into. 3 months suddenly felt like a very long time, and also nowhere near long enough. Wednesday morning, I woke up in a bed that cost more than my car, and momentarily forgot where I was. Then I remembered. Married. Fake married. To my boss. In his penthouse. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Unknown. Stylist arriving at 10 a.m. Don't argue. Gee, I checked the time, 9:47 a.m. Me, I have my own clothes, thanks. Unknown. You have 3 business suits and that blue dress you wore in Vegas. The gala requires something more sophisticated. Me, are you saying I don't look sophisticated? Unknown. I'm saying you need a dress that costs more than most people's rent. It's a Hawthorne family tradition. Also, save my number. Before I could respond, my doorbell rang. Not the penthouse door, my bedroom door. I opened it to find Garrett holding 2 coffee cups, dressed in running gear that had absolutely no business looking that good. "You run?" I blurted out. "Every morning. 6 miles. He handed me a coffee. Iced vanilla latte, extra shot, light ice. You drink it at the office every day at 9:15 a.m. I stared at the cup, then at him. You know my coffee order? I know a lot of things about you, Sloan. He took a sip of his own coffee. Black, no sugar, of course. Like how you tap your pen exactly 4 times when you're thinking, or how you always take the stairs instead of the elevator when you're stressed. Or, okay, stalker, point made. But something warm bloomed in my chest. Thank you for the coffee. Don't thank me yet. Vivian is coming. Who's Vivienne? His expression was almost apologetic. My mother's personal stylist. She once made a Fortune 500 CEO cry during a fitting. You're joking. I wish I was. The doorbell, the actual penthouse door, rang. That's her. Remember, she means well, probably. Vivian was 60, French, and absolutely terrifying. She circled me like a predator studying prey, making disapproving sounds in the back of her throat. Too thin, we need to create curves. She lifted my arm, let it drop. Posture terrible, you slouch. I don't slouch. You slouch. She turned to Garrett, who was watching from the doorway with barely concealed amusement. This is what you bring me? This mouse? Vivian, Garrett said carefully, be nice. Nice does not make beautiful. Beautiful makes beautiful. She clapped her hands. Strip. We begin. I'm sorry, what? Underwear. I need to see the canvas. I looked at Garrett in panic. He had the decency to retreat. I'll be in my office. Good luck. 3 hours later, I'd been poked, prodded, measured, and stuffed into approximately 47 dresses. My feet hurt. My pride was wounded. And Vivian still wasn't satisfied. No, no, no! She ripped the latest dress off me with zero concern for my modesty. These are all wrong. You have no, how do you say, presence. Maybe because I'm standing in my underwear being yelled at by a French woman? Vivian's eyes narrowed. Then, unexpectedly, she smiled. Good. You have spine. We work with spine. She disappeared into the mountain of garment bags and emerged with a dress I hadn't seen yet. This one. Put it on. The dress was midnight blue, almost black, with long sleeves and a neckline that was somehow both modest and devastating. When I zipped it up, the fabric hugged every curve I didn't know I had. I looked in the mirror and barely recognized myself. Now, Vivian said with satisfaction, now you look like a woman who could catch Garrett Hawthorne. She called him in without asking my permission. Garrett walked into the room, phone in hand, already talking. Vivian, I have a meeting in 20 minutes, so whatever. He stopped mid-sentence when he saw me. The phone slowly lowered. Well, Vivian demanded. You see, I am genius, no? Garrett didn't answer. He was just staring. His eyes traveled from my face down to my heels and back up again, slower this time. When he finally met my gaze, something in his expression made my breath catch. You look... He cleared his throat. That's the one. See? Vivian packed up her things with brisk efficiency. Tomorrow, hair and makeup, 4 p.m. Don't be late, don't eat too much, don't wrinkle the dress. She paused at the door. And Garrett? Your wife? She is beautiful. Try to remember this when you are being stupid workaholic. After she left, silence hung heavy in the room. You really do look beautiful, Garrett said quietly. It's just a dress. No. He stepped closer. It's not. We stood there, me in this incredible dress, him looking at me like I was someone completely different from the analyst who organized his calendar and fixed his spreadsheets. We should practice, I said suddenly. Practice? The gala, tomorrow. We should... I gestured vaguely between us. Practice being married, in public. Something flickered in his eyes. What did you have in mind? Dinner. Tonight, somewhere nice. We can work on the whole couple thing. The couple thing, he repeated, almost amused. You know what I mean, the touching, the pet names, the looking like we didn't just meet in Vegas 3 days ago. Garrett pulled out his phone and made a quick call. Marco, I need a table at Sorolina tonight. 7 o'clock. Window seat. Yes, I know it's fully booked. It's for my wife. A pause. Yes, wife. I'll explain later. He hung up and smiled at me. A real smile that crinkled the corners of his eyes. Tonight at 7. Wear something nice, but not the gala dress. I know how dinner dates work, Garrett. Do you? Because I'm not sure either of us has been on one in years. He headed for the door, then stopped. And Sloan, leave your hair down. I like it better that way. Sorolina was the kind of restaurant where the waiters knew everyone's name, and the wine list was longer than most novels. I'd changed into a simple black dress, one of my own, and left my hair down like Garrett suggested. He wore a dark suit without a tie, which somehow made him look more dangerous than his usual corporate armor. Mr. Hawthorne, Mrs. Hawthorne, the maitre d' greeted us like royalty. Congratulations on your recent marriage. We're honored to host you tonight. Garrett's hand found the small of my back, warm and steady. Thank you, Marco. Our window table overlooked the city lights. A candle flickered between us. Soft jazz played in the background. It was painfully, perfectly romantic. This is weird, I said once we were alone. Which part? The fake marriage or the fact that we're on a date? Both. Neither, I don't know. I fiddled with my napkin. At the office, you're my boss. Here, you're supposed to be my husband. I can't keep track of which version is real. Maybe they both are. Garrett leaned back, studying me. I've been thinking about what you said on the plane, about me not noticing you. You didn't. You don't have to pretend. I noticed. His voice was quiet but firm. I noticed everything. The way you bite your lip when you're nervous. How you always bring extra coffee to morning meetings because you know Jenkins never remembers his. That you volunteered to work Christmas Eve last year because you knew Rachel wanted to be with her kids. My throat felt tight. Why didn't you say anything? Because you were brilliant at your job and I was your boss, and noticing you felt complicated. He paused while the sommelier poured wine. And then I woke up married to you in Vegas, and suddenly complicated became our default setting. We could fix that. Annul it. Pretend Vegas never happened. We could. His eyes locked on mine. Is that what you want? The question hung between us, heavier than it should have been for a fake marriage. I want the promotion, I said finally. Right, the promotion. Something flashed across his face. Disappointment, but it was gone too quickly to read. Then we should make these 3 months count. The waiter appeared with our first course, giving me time to breathe. We talked through dinner. Really talked. Not the clipped office conversations we usually had. I learned he'd wanted to be an architect before his father died and left him the company. He learned I'd grown up in Providence with 2 brothers who still called me Squirt, despite me being 30 next year. Wait, Garrett said, setting down his fork. Your birthday is in March. March 14th. Yes? You already knew that. That's Pi Day. I blinked. I'm sorry, what? 3/14. Pi. His mouth twitched. Your birthday is Pi Day and you're a financial analyst who works with numbers all day. That's either cosmic irony or perfect destiny. I threw my napkin at him. He caught it, laughing, actually laughing, and the sound did something dangerous to my heart. You're such a nerd, I said. You married a nerd. What does that make you? Temporarily insane? His smile faded slightly. Temporarily. Right. The reminder of our expiration date settled over the table like fog. We should practice, Garrett said abruptly. The pet names, the touching. We're in public. It's perfect. Okay. I took a breath. What do I call you? Whatever feels natural. I looked at this impossible man sitting across from me. My boss, my accidental husband, somehow becoming something more complicated with each passing day. Garrett, I said softly. That's my name, not a pet name. I know, but it's mine. The way I say it. I reached across the table, letting my fingers brush his. Is that enough? His hand turned, capturing mine completely. His thumb traced patterns on my palm exactly like he'd done on the plane. Yeah, he said roughly. That's enough. A camera flash went off somewhere behind us. We both turned to see a woman with her phone out looking guilty. Sorry, she said. You two just look so perfect together. Are you on your honeymoon? Garrett's arm came around my shoulders, pulling me close. To anyone watching, we looked like besotted newlyweds. Something like that, he said. After the woman left, I expected him to let go. He didn't. People are going to recognize us tomorrow, I said. Good. Let them see we're the real thing. But we're not. His eyes found mine, dark and unreadable in the candlelight. Aren't we? Before I could answer, before I even knew what I would answer, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it and sighed. It's Lennox. Wants to know if we're ready for tomorrow's Inquisition. Is that what we're calling the gala? You haven't met my extended family yet. Inquisition is generous. He typed a response, then looked up. Ready to go home? Home. He'd said it so casually, like his penthouse was already ours instead of his, like we were already something real. In the car ride back, Garrett's hand found mine in the darkness. Neither of us acknowledged it. Neither of us let go. When we reached the penthouse, I headed for my room but stopped at the door. Garrett? He was loosening his tie, looking every inch the powerful CEO again. Yeah, thank you. For tonight. For noticing me. His expression softened. Sloan, not noticing you was never the problem. Knowing what to do about noticing you, that was the problem. He disappeared into his room before I could respond, leaving me standing in the hallway wondering if we were still pretending, and terrified that maybe we'd stopped pretending days ago. Thursday evening arrived with the inevitability of a freight train. Vivian descended on the penthouse at exactly 4 p.m. with a team of 3 people, whose sole job was apparently to make me look like someone who belonged at Garrett Hawthorne's side. Sit, don't move, don't talk, Vivian commanded. For 2 hours, I was plucked, painted, curled, and shellacked within an inch of my life. When they finally let me see the mirror, I barely recognized the woman staring back. My hair fell in loose waves down my back. My makeup was subtle but somehow made my eyes look twice their normal size, and the midnight blue dress, it transformed me into someone confident, elegant, powerful, someone who could be Mrs. Hawthorne. Perfect, Vivian declared. Now, the shoes. She produced heels so high they should have come with a warning label. I'll break my ankle, then break it elegantly. Beauty is pain, chérie. She checked her watch. Garrett will be ready in 10 minutes. Try not to wrinkle before you leave. After she swept out with her team, I practiced walking in the death trap shoes. 3 laps around my room without falling. Not great, but acceptable. A knock on my door made me jump. It's me, Garrett's voice called. Can I come in? Sure. The door opened and I forgot how to breathe. Garrett wore a perfectly tailored tuxedo that probably cost more than my college tuition. His hair was styled just messy enough to look artful. But it was his eyes that stopped me. The way they widened slightly when he saw me. The way his Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed. You clean up nice, I managed. I was about to say the same thing. He stepped into the room, pulling something from his pocket. I got you something. Well, technically I got us something, but mostly you. He opened a velvet box to reveal a stunning sapphire necklace with matching earrings. Garrett, that's too much. They're borrowed from my mother's collection. She insisted. He lifted the necklace. May I? I turned around, lifting my hair. His fingers brushed the back of my neck as he fastened the clasp, and goosebumps erupted down my spine. There. His hands lingered on my shoulders. Now you look like someone who married way up. I turned to face him. You mean you married down? I mean we both got lucky in Vegas. His smile was crooked, genuine, even if we were too drunk to remember most of it. Speak for yourself. I'm starting to remember more. His expression shifted. Yeah, like what? Like you couldn't figure out how to work the chapel's door handle, and the Elvis guy had to help you. I grinned at the memory flooding back. You tipped him $200. Garrett groaned. Please tell me that's not true. Completely true. You also serenaded me in the limo afterward. I did not. You absolutely did. Some Frank Sinatra song, off-key. I was fully laughing now. It was terrible and kind of adorable. He stepped closer, his voice dropping. I don't do adorable. You did that night. That night I also married you, so clearly my judgment was impaired. But he was smiling. Ready to face the wolves? Do I have a choice? Not really, but I'll be right beside you the whole time. He offered his arm. Shall we, Mrs. Hawthorne? I took his arm, feeling the solid warmth of him through the expensive fabric. Let's get this over with. The gala was held at the Boston Harbor Hotel, in a ballroom that dripped with crystal chandeliers and old money. We arrived fashionably late. Garrett's strategy for making an entrance. The moment we stepped through the doors, conversations stopped. Heads turned. Phones came out. Smile, Garrett murmured. And whatever happens, don't let go of my hand. His fingers threaded through mine, warm and steady. Victoria spotted us immediately and rushed over, radiant in a silver gown. There they are, Boston's most exciting couple. She kissed both our cheeks. You two look absolutely stunning. Come, everyone is dying to meet Sloan. She wasn't exaggerating. For the next hour, we were passed from group to group like prize trophies. Board members, investors. Society wives who smiled with their mouths but calculated with their eyes. So tell me, dear, Mrs. Pemberton, wife of the company's largest shareholder, cornered me by the champagne fountain. How exactly did you manage to snag our most eligible bachelor? The question was honey-coated poison. I didn't snag anyone, I said pleasantly. Garrett made his own choice. How modern. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. And what did you do before becoming Mrs. Hawthorne? I heard you worked for the company? I still work for the company. I'm a senior financial analyst. How quaint. She sipped her champagne. Though I suppose you'll be leaving soon? Starting a family? Garrett appeared at my elbow, sliding an arm around my waist. Sloane's brilliant at her job. The company would be foolish to lose her. Speaking of which, Mrs. Pemberton, have you met the new head of acquisitions? He smoothly extracted me from the conversation and led me toward the terrace. You okay? He asked once we were outside in the cool air. That woman basically called me a gold digger. She's called every woman I've dated for the past 10 years a gold digger. It's her hobby. He turned me to face him, hands on my shoulders. Hey, look at me. You belong here. Not because of me. Because you're smart and talented and you earned your place. Got it? Something warm expanded in my chest. Got it. Good. Now let's go back in there and show them exactly why I married you. We danced, in the center of the ballroom where everyone could see. Garrett's hand on my waist, my hand on his shoulder, moving together like we'd done this 100 times before. You're a good dancer, I said, surprised. Mandatory lessons as a kid. My mother's idea. He spun me expertly. You're not bad yourself. I took ballet until I was 12. Then I discovered I was terrible at it. He laughed, the sound rumbling through his chest where my hand rested. I'm trying to picture you in a tutu. Don't. It's a horrifying mental image. The song changed to something slower, more intimate. Garrett pulled me closer until we were barely swaying, just existing in each other's space. Everyone's watching us, I whispered. I know. His breath was warm against my ear. Let them watch. Garrett, Sloane, I need to tell you something. My heart stuttered. What? Before he could answer, a voice cut through the moment like a knife. Well, if it isn't the happy couple. We turned to find a tall blonde woman in a red dress that left little to the imagination. She held a champagne glass and wore a smile that made my skin crawl. Garrett's entire body tensed. Melissa. Garrett. She air-kissed both his cheeks, completely ignoring me. When I heard you'd gotten married, I simply couldn't believe it. You, settling down. She laughed. I had to see it for myself. Melissa, this is my wife Sloane. Sloane, this is Melissa Carrington. We used to date. We dated for 2 years. Melissa finally acknowledged my existence, her eyes scanning me from head to toe with surgical precision. Though date might be generous, we were more involved. The implication was clear and deliberately cruel. Nice to meet you, I said, voice steady despite wanting to flee. Is it, though? Melissa tilted her head. I mean, it must be strange, marrying someone you barely know. What did you two do? Meet 3 weeks ago? Actually, Garrett started. We've been together for 6 months, I said firmly. Garrett's just private about his personal life. 6 months? Melissa's laugh was sharp. Funny. 6 months ago, he and I were having drinks at his place. Late-night drinks. She looked at Garrett. Remember you called me after the Tokyo deal closed? I felt Garrett's hand tighten on my waist. That was business, Melissa. Was it? She took a sip of champagne. Well, regardless, I'm sure you two will be very happy, for however long it lasts. She patted my arm condescendingly. Word of advice, sweetie. Garrett gets bored easily. Hope you have a good prenup. She glided away, leaving destruction in her wake. The silence between us was deafening. Sloane, did you? My voice came out smaller than I wanted. 6 months ago. Were you with her? We had a business meeting that ran late. She tried to make it more. I shut it down. His eyes pleaded with me to believe him. That's it, I swear. It doesn't matter anyway, I said, even though something in my chest felt cracked. We're not really together. This is all fake, remember? Sloane, I need some air. The real kind. Not terrace air. I pulled away from him. I'll be back in a minute. I made it to the women's lounge before the tears threatened to spill, which was ridiculous. Why was I crying over a fake husband's fake commitment to our fake marriage? I stared at my reflection. The fancy dress, the borrowed jewelry, the perfect makeup, and wanted to laugh at the absurdity of it all. The door opened, and Victoria Hawthorne walked in. Perfect. "Sloane, dear, are you all right?" She touched my shoulder gently. "I saw Melissa talking to you too. That woman has all the grace of a wrecking ball." "I'm fine. You're crying." "I'm not." I caught sight of my mascara starting to smudge. "Okay, maybe a little." Victoria handed me a tissue and sat beside me on the velvet bench. "Can I tell you something about my son?" "Mrs. Hawthorne." "Victoria, please." She smiled. "Garrett has spent his entire adult life building walls. After his father died, he decided emotion was a weakness. He became this robot in a suit." She took my hand. "Then he met you, and for the first time in 10 years, I saw my son smile." "Really smile? You don't understand. I understand that whatever happened in Vegas, whatever brought you two together, it woke something up in him." Victoria squeezed my hand. "Don't let Melissa or anyone else make you doubt that." Guilt twisted in my stomach. This wonderful woman believed in us, and it was all built on lies. "I should get back," I said quietly. "One more thing." Victoria stood, elegant as always. "That boy is falling in love with you, whether he knows it yet or not. The question is, are you brave enough to let him?" She left me alone with that question echoing in my mind. When I returned to the ballroom, Garrett was exactly where I'd left him, scanning the crowd anxiously. His entire face transformed with relief when he saw me. He crossed the room in 3 long strides. "I'm sorry," he said. "For Melissa, for all of this, for—" I stood on my toes and kissed him. Not for show. Not for the cameras or the gossips or the board members watching. Just for us. When I pulled back, his eyes were wide with surprise. "What was that for?" "Practice," I lied. "We need to look convincing, remember?" His hand came up to cup my face, thumb brushing my cheekbone. "Right. Practice." But the way he looked at me, like I was something precious and terrifying all at once, felt anything but fake. "Dance with me again?" he asked softly. "Only if you promise not to let me fall in these death trap heels." "Never." He pulled me back onto the dance floor. "I've got you." And for the rest of the night, he did. Later, in the car ride home, I finally found the courage to ask, "What were you going to tell me?" Before Melissa interrupted, Garrett stared out the window at Boston's passing lights. For a long moment, I thought he wouldn't answer. "I was going to say that these past few days, getting to know you, really know you, have been the best days I've had in years." He turned to face me. "And that scares me more than any business deal ever has." My heart hammered against my ribs. "Garrett, I know, we have a contract, 3 months, then we're done. Professional distance maintained." His smile was sad. "I'm just saying, if circumstances were different—" He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. Back at the penthouse, we stood in the hallway between our separate bedrooms, neither of us moving. "Good night, Sloane," Garrett said finally. "Good night." But as I closed my door, I heard him whisper something so quietly I almost missed it. "If circumstances were different, I'd ask you to stay married to me. For real." I pressed my back against the door, tears finally falling, because I would have said yes. And that was the most terrifying thing of all. I woke up Friday morning to the smell of coffee and the sound of Garrett swearing in the kitchen. Actually swearing. Garrett Hawthorne, who never lost his composure, was having a full meltdown over what sounded like kitchen appliances. I pulled on a robe and padded out to investigate. The scene was almost comical. Garrett, still in his pajama pants and an MIT t-shirt, glaring at the espresso machine like it had personally offended him. There was coffee splattered on the counter, the floor, and somehow on his shirt. "Do you need help?" I asked, fighting back a smile. He spun around, running a frustrated hand through his already messy hair. "This machine is possessed. I'm convinced. Or, you don't know how to use it? I've used it 1,000 times. Have you?" I moved closer, examining the situation. "Because it looks like you put the grounds in the water reservoir." His ears turned slightly pink. "That's not possible." "It's absolutely possible." I fixed the machine and started it properly. "When's the last time you actually made your own coffee?" "I have an assistant who—" He stopped, looking sheepish. "Never. I've never made my own coffee." I laughed, really laughed, and the sound seemed to ease something in his expression. "CEO of a multi-million-dollar company can't work a coffee maker. That's going in my ammunition folder." "What ammunition folder?" The one I'm building for when you inevitably do something annoying and I need blackmail material. I poured 2 cups as the machine finished. Also, good morning. Good morning. He accepted the coffee, his fingers brushing mine. Sleep well? Terribly, actually. I'd spent most of the night replaying his whispered words from the hallway, but I wasn't about to tell him that. Like a rock. You? Same. A lie. I could see the faint shadows under his eyes. We stood in the kitchen, drinking coffee in comfortable silence until Garrett's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and groaned. What now? Lennox wants to have brunch with us today in 1 hour. He looked up. We can say no. Your cousin who announced our marriage to the entire company? That Lennox? The very same. I thought about Victoria's words from last night. About being brave, about letting this, whatever this was, happen. Let's go, I said. I want to meet the person responsible for this mess. Garrett's smile was slow and devastating. You're going to love her, or hate her. There's no in-between with Lennox. Lennox Hawthorne was a force of nature in human form. She swept into the restaurant wearing designer everything and a smile that spelled trouble. Her dark hair was cut in a sharp bob, her eyes the same gray-green as Garrett's but with twice the mischief. There's my favorite accidental couple. She hugged Garrett first, then pulled me into an embrace before I could react. Sloan, finally. I've been dying to meet the woman who made my robot cousin do something spontaneous. Lennox, Garrett warned. What? It's true. She sat down and immediately ordered mimosas for the table. So, Vegas, Elvis, details. I need them all. For the next hour, Lennox grilled us with questions while somehow making it feel like a fun interrogation. She wanted to know everything. How we met. Garrett smoothly delivered our cover story. When he knew I was the one, he improvised something about my laugh, what our first kiss was like. We both strategically avoided that question. You two are good, Lennox said finally, sitting back with her mimosa. Almost too good. The story's polished. The timing's perfect. Your body language screams, we're madly in love. She paused. So why do I get the feeling you're both lying through your teeth? My heart stopped. Garrett's expression didn't change. I don't know what you mean. Please. I've known you since we were 6. You get this tiny tell when you're lying. Your left eye twitches, just barely, and it's been twitching since you sat down. She turned to me. And you, Sloan, have been gripping that napkin like it's a life preserver for 20 minutes. I forced myself to relax my hands. Lennox, Garrett started. Relax, I'm not going to blow your cover. She leaned forward conspiratorially. But I need to know, is this one of those fake marriage situations? Like a business arrangement? Because if so, that's actually kind of brilliant. The silence stretched too long. Lennox's eyes widened. It is, oh my, this is amazing. You two fake married each other? She looked genuinely delighted. Why? It's complicated, I said quietly. Complicated how? Wait, let me guess. She pointed at Garrett. You needed to get your mother off your back about settling down. Then at me. And you needed, what? Money? No, you don't strike me as the gold digger type. Power? A promotion? I winced. A promotion, Lennox crowed. Brilliant, transactional, clean. Her smile faded slightly. Except you two don't look at each other like it's transactional. You look at each other like, well, like you're in love. We're not, Garrett and I said simultaneously. Sure you're not. Lennox signaled for another round of drinks. Look, I'm going to give you some unsolicited advice because that's what family does. If this fake marriage is turning into something real, don't fight it. Life's too short to deny yourself happiness because it doesn't fit your plan. Who says it's turning into something real? Garrett asked defensively. Lennox just smiled. The way you've looked at her 17 times in the past hour. The way she instinctively reached for your hand when I mentioned the promotion. The way you both flinched when I said the word fake, like it physically hurt. She stood up. I have to run. Conference call with Tokyo. But Sloan, take care of my cousin. He needs someone to remind him he's human, not just a profit margin. After she left, Garrett and I sat in loaded silence. 17 times, I finally asked. I don't know what she's talking about. You looked at me 17 times in 1 hour. He stared at his coffee cup. Maybe I wanted to make sure the performance was working. Right, the performance. More silence. Sloan, about what she said. We should go. I stood up abruptly. I need to grab some things from my apartment anyway, clothes, books, things that make a place feel like home. Something flickered in his expression. You want the penthouse to feel like home? I hadn't meant to say that out loud. I just meant, for the 3 months, it'll be easier if I'm comfortable. Of course. He stood too, leaving cash on the table. I'll come with you. Help you pack. You don't have to. I want to. His eyes met mine. Let me help. My apartment was exactly as I'd left it 5 days ago. Small, cluttered, and completely me. Garrett stood in the doorway, taking it all in. The overflowing bookshelves, the plants on every surface, the gallery wall of photos with friends and family. This is very... He searched for words. Chaotic, messy, lived in. He picked up a photo of me and my brothers. You look happy here. I am. I started pulling clothes from my closet. It's not much, but it's mine. He moved through the space slowly, respectfully, picking up small objects and setting them down carefully. When he reached my desk, he stopped. You kept it. I looked over to see him holding a small trophy. Most Valuable Analyst, Q3 2023. Of course I kept it. I earned it. You did more than earn it. You saved the Berkshire deal single-handedly. He set it down gently. I should have promoted you then. Why didn't you? He was quiet for a long moment. Because if you moved up, you wouldn't be working directly with me anymore. And the selfish part of me didn't want that. My hand stilled on the sweater I was folding. Garrett, I know, it's not fair. You deserved better. He shoved his hands in his pockets. You still deserve better. Better than this fake arrangement, better than me. I crossed the room to stand in front of him. What if I don't want better? What if I want this? His eyes searched mine. This? Meaning what? I don't know yet. I was being honest. But Lennox was right about one thing. This doesn't feel fake anymore, at least not to me. Sloan. My name on his lips sounded like a prayer and a curse. If we do this, if we make this real, there's no going back, no clean exit, no 3-month expiration date. I know, and if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, but at least we tried. I reached up to touch his face. Don't you want to know? What we could be if we stopped pretending. He caught my hand, holding it against his cheek. I'm terrified. Me too. I don't know how to do this, the real thing. I've spent so long building walls. I'm not sure I remember how to let someone in. Then we'll figure it out together. I smiled. Consider it a learning curve. You're good at those. He laughed. That rare, genuine laugh that transformed his whole face. You make it sound simple. It could be, if we let it. He pulled me closer, his forehead resting against mine. What if I mess this up? Then I'll be there to tell you exactly how you messed it up, in detailed bullet points, with supporting evidence. Very romantic. I'm a financial analyst. Romance isn't my strong suit. Isn't it, though? His lips were dangerously close to mine. Because you've had me completely off balance since Vegas. Maybe before Vegas. Maybe since the day you walked into my office 3 years ago with coffee stains on your blouse and a presentation that made half the board question their careers. I remember that day. You barely looked at me. I looked at you plenty. I just made sure you didn't catch me. His thumb traced my jawline. So here's my question. Do we keep pretending this is fake? Or do we admit what's really happening here? My heart was racing so fast I could barely breathe. What is really happening here? I'm falling for you, Sloan Bennett. Have been for a while, probably. I just needed a Vegas wedding to finally admit it. The words hung in the air between us, real and terrifying and perfect. Well, I said, my voice shaking slightly. That's inconvenient. He pulled back, confused. Inconvenient? Because I'm falling for you too. And now we have to figure out how to navigate a real relationship while pretending we've been in one for 6 months. That's complicated. Complicated is my specialty. He smiled. We'll figure it out. Together? Together. This kiss was different from all the others. This one wasn't for show, wasn't practice, wasn't performance. This was just us, Sloan and Garrett, no roles to play, no audience to convince. When we finally broke apart, both breathless, he rested his forehead against mine again. So, he said, does this mean you're staying married to me? For real this time? I think we're legally already married, remember? The Elvis paperwork was legitimate. Right, but I mean, he seemed almost nervous. Would you want to? Stay married? Are you proposing to your own wife? Maybe. I don't know the protocol here. He laughed. This is uncharted territory. I pretended to think about it. Will there be a ring upgrade? Because the Vegas special is nice, but he kissed me again, effectively shutting me up. Yes, he murmured against my lips. Ring upgrade. Anything you want. I want you, I said simply. The real you. Not the CEO, not the performance, just Garrett. His eyes softened. You have me. You've had me for a while now. We spent the rest of the afternoon packing my apartment, laughing and talking and stealing kisses between boxing up books and dishes. It felt domestic in the best way, like we'd been doing this for years instead of days. As we loaded the last box into Garrett's car, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Lennox. I give you 2 a week before you admit you're actually in love. Good luck, kids. I showed it to Garrett. He just smiled. Should we tell her she's wrong about the timeline? He asked. What do you mean? He pulled me close, right there on the street in broad daylight. I mean, I already know I'm in love with you, Sloane. Have been since Vegas, maybe before. My breath caught. Garrett, you don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know. No more pretending. No more walls. Just truth. I looked at this impossible man, my accidental husband, my boss, my friend, and somehow something infinitely more. I love you too, I said, even though you can't make coffee and you're terrible at showing emotions, and you have a closet full of identical suits. Those are all fair criticisms. But you're also brilliant and kind, and you notice things about people that others miss. You remembered my coffee order. You know I take the stairs when I'm stressed. You kept that stupid trophy on your desk even though you never told me. I smiled. So yeah, I love you, which is terrifying and inconvenient and absolutely perfect. He kissed me again, and this time, I didn't worry about the timeline or the contract or what would happen in 3 months, because this, us, was real, and that was all that mattered. 3 weeks after we stopped pretending, disaster struck, and by disaster, I mean Garrett's mother decided to throw us a proper wedding reception. Absolutely not, Garrett said into his phone while I tried not to laugh from across the breakfast table. Mom, we're already married. A reception is, no, I understand it's tradition, but Mom, he pulled the phone away from his ear, looking at me helplessly. I took pity on him and grabbed the phone. Victoria? It's Sloane. Oh, sweetheart, please talk some sense into my stubborn son. You deserve a proper celebration. We appreciate that, but I've already booked the venue and the caterer, and I may have sent save the dates to about 200 people. Garrett's face went pale. 200? I mouthed at him. He looked like he might pass out. Victoria, I said carefully, that's incredibly generous, but it's in 6 weeks. That gives us plenty of time to plan. Oh, and I found the most darling wedding planner. Her name is Sage, and she's an absolute miracle worker. I looked at Garrett. He was shaking his head frantically. We'll think about it, I said diplomatically. Wonderful. I'll have Sage call you tomorrow. Love you both. She hung up before I could respond. We're doomed, Garrett said flatly. It could be fun. Sloane, my mother just invited 200 people to watch us renew vows we drunkenly made to an Elvis impersonator. He dropped his head to the table. This is a nightmare. I ran my fingers through his hair. Look at it this way. At least this time you'll remember the ceremony. He lifted his head to glare at me, but his lips twitched. That's not funny. It's a little funny. It's not. He stopped as I leaned over to kiss him. When I pulled back, he sighed. Fine. It's slightly amusing. That's more like it. I sat back down with my coffee. Besides, your mom is right. We did kind of skip the whole traditional wedding thing. Because we were in Vegas, drunk, making terrible decisions. Best terrible decision I ever made. I smiled at him over my mug. But if you really don't want to do this, we'll tell her no. Garrett studied me for a long moment. Do you want a proper wedding? The question caught me off guard. Did I? I'd never been the girl who dreamed about white dresses and flower arrangements. But the idea of standing in front of our friends and family, saying vows I actually remembered, promising forever to this man I loved. Yeah, I admitted. I kinda do. His expression softened. Then we'll do it. But I'm putting my foot down on one thing. What's that? No Elvis. I laughed. Deal. Sage, the wedding planner, was a 5'2" tornado of efficiency and opinions. She arrived at the penthouse with 3 binders, a tablet, and a look that said she'd planned royal weddings and ours would be easy. All right, she said, spreading materials across our dining table. We have 6 weeks. That's tight but doable. First question, theme. What are we thinking? Classic, elegant, modern, minimalist, rustic, chic? Garrett and I looked at each other blankly. We haven't really thought about it, I said. Sage's eye twitched slightly. You haven't thought about your wedding theme? In our defense, Garrett said, our first wedding was planned in about 20 minutes by someone named Elvis. Sage stared at us. I'm going to need that story later. But right now, colors. What are we thinking? Blue? I offered. Navy and gold? Garrett suggested. Sage typed rapidly. Navy and gold. Classic. Safe. Boring. Boring? Garrett looked offended. Boring, Sage confirmed. But we can work with it. Next, venue. Your mother suggested the yacht club, but I'm thinking the botanical gardens. More romantic. Better photo opportunities. For the next 2 hours, Sage fired questions at us while making decisions at lightning speed. Flowers, peonies and roses. Music, string quartet for ceremony, jazz band for reception. Menu, she didn't even ask, just declared she was hiring her favorite caterer. One more thing, Sage said as she packed up. The vows. Are we going traditional or personal? Personal, I said immediately. Garrett looked surprised. Really? Really. I want to say things to you that actually matter, not just recite something from a book. I felt my cheeks heat. Is that okay? His smile was answer enough. More than okay. After Sage left, Garrett pulled me onto the couch beside him. 6 weeks, he said. Think we can plan a wedding in 6 weeks while running a company and living together and not killing each other? Please. I've seen you negotiate billion-dollar deals. A wedding should be easy. He kissed my temple. You're right, we've got this. Famous last words. Week 1. Garrett insisted on reviewing every vendor contract personally. Sage threatened to quit 3 times. Week 2. Victoria wanted to invite a few more people. The guest list ballooned to 300. The venue had to be changed. Sage actually did quit. We begged her to come back. Week 3. My brothers arrived from Providence to help. They mostly ate all our food and gave Garrett a hard time about stealing their sister. Garrett took it remarkably well, probably because my youngest brother, Tyler, was fascinated by his car collection. Week 4. Garrett's entire office discovered we'd originally gotten married in Vegas. Someone started a betting pool on whether we'd make it to the real ceremony. The current odds were 3-1 against us. That's insulting, I said, reading the office gossip email someone had forwarded me. That's a good investment opportunity, Garrett countered. We should bet on ourselves, make some money. You want to bet on our own wedding? Why not? We know something they don't. We're actually going to show up. I shook my head, laughing. You're ridiculous. You love it. I really do. Week 5. Dress shopping with Victoria and Lennox turned into an event. Victoria cried at every dress. Lennox made inappropriate comments about each one. I tried on 17 dresses before finding the one, a simple silk gown that made me feel like myself, just elevated. That's it, Lennox declared. That's your dress. Victoria was sobbing. You're so beautiful. Garrett's going to lose his mind. He already saw me in a wedding dress, I pointed out, in Vegas. Sweetie, you wore a cocktail dress in Vegas. This is different. She dabbed her eyes. This is real. Week 6. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. The florist delivered roses instead of peonies. The cake collapsed in transit. The jazz band double booked and canceled. Garrett's great-aunt Agnes showed up 3 days early and decided to help with preparations, which mostly meant criticizing everything. By Thursday night, 2 days before the wedding, I was sitting on the bathroom floor of the penthouse, trying not to have a complete breakdown. Garrett found me there, still in my work clothes, staring at my phone where Sage had just texted that the string quartet's violinist had the flu. Hey, he slid down to sit beside me. Talk to me. Everything's falling apart. The flowers are wrong. The cake is destroyed. We don't have music. And your great-aunt Agnes just told me my dress makes me look peaked, whatever that means. I dropped my phone. Maybe this is a sign. Maybe we should just stay Vegas married and call it good. Sloan. He turned my face toward him. Look at me. Do you love me? Of course I do. Do I love you? Yes. Then everything else is just details. He kissed my forehead. The flowers don't matter. The cake doesn't matter. The music doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you and me, promising to do this life thing together. Everything else is just decoration. When did you become so wise? About 5 seconds ago. I'm winging it. He stood and pulled me up. Come on, we're fixing this. How? By remembering we're good at solving problems. It's literally what we do for a living. He grabbed his phone. I'll call in favors for the music. You handle the flowers. Call that boutique place you love on Newberry Street. They owe you after that corporate event you organized. What about the cake? My mother has 3 sisters who all bake competitively. I'll start a group chat. They'll have 5 cakes ready by Saturday morning. He was already typing. See? Problem solved. I stared at him. You're kind of amazing. I know. He grinned. Now come on, wife, we have a wedding to save. By midnight, we'd secured new flowers, replacement musicians. Lennox knew a guitarist who owed her a favor, and Victoria's sisters were in a heated text battle over who would make the best wedding cake. We're going to end up with 5 cakes, Garrett said, reading the family group chat. Is that a problem? Not if you like cake. I leaned against him on the couch, exhausted but happy. I can't believe we pulled this off. We make a good team. The best team. I tilted my head up to look at him. Are you nervous? About Saturday? Terrified. Really? Sloan, I'm about to stand in front of 300 people and declare my love for you. Of course I'm terrified. He ran his fingers through my hair. But I'm also more sure of this than anything I've ever done. You're it for me. Vegas, Botanical Gardens, wherever. As long as it's with you, I'm all in. Tears pricked my eyes. Now who's being romantic? Still not my strong suit. But I'm learning. He kissed me softly. Go to bed. Big day coming up. You're not coming? I need to finish these vows. They have to be perfect. They don't have to be perfect. They just have to be true. He smiled. Then they'll be both. Saturday morning arrived with perfect weather and controlled chaos. The botanical gardens looked like something from a fairy tale. Navy and gold everywhere. Peonies and roses, the right ones this time, cascading from every surface. String lights woven through the trees. 300 chairs set up facing an arch covered in white flowers. And 5 cakes. Because Victoria's sisters couldn't agree on just one. In the bridal suite, Lennox was helping me into my dress while Victoria applied finishing touches to my makeup. You look stunning, Lennox said. Garrett's going to cry. He doesn't cry. He will today. She adjusted my veil. I've known him my whole life. I've never seen him like this. Like, happy. Really, genuinely happy. That's all you. We make each other happy, I said softly. That's how it should be. Victoria squeezed my hand. Ready? So ready. My brothers walked me down the aisle, all 3 of them, because we couldn't decide on just one. Tyler made a joke about how expensive it would be to return me if Garrett changed his mind. Marcus told him to shut up. David just looked emotional. And then I saw Garrett waiting at the altar. Lennox was right. He was crying, not sobbing, just a few tears tracking down his face as he watched me walk toward him. He was in a perfectly tailored navy suit, looking so handsome it hurt, and the way he looked at me, like I was his whole world, made my own tears fall. Hi, he whispered when I reached him. Hi yourself. The ceremony was perfect, traditional enough to satisfy Victoria, personal enough to satisfy us. When it came time for vows, Garrett pulled out a folded paper with shaking hands. Sloan, he began, voice rough with emotion. 3 months ago, I woke up married to you after the worst decision of my life. Except it wasn't the worst decision. It was the best one. You walked into my life with your stubborn independence, your terrible jokes, and your ability to see through every wall I'd built. You made me want to be better. Not just a better CEO or a better son, but a better person. You taught me that letting someone in isn't weakness. It's courage. And I promised to spend every day proving I'm worthy of the courage you showed in giving me a chance. I love you. In Vegas, in Boston, in every moment between and every moment after. You're my favorite terrible decision. Forever. I was fully crying now. That's not fair. Mine isn't going to be as good. Everyone laughed. I didn't have notes. I spoke from the heart. Garrett, you are the most infuriating, brilliant, impossible man I've ever met. You can negotiate billion-dollar deals, but can't work a coffee maker. You remember everyone's birthday, but forget to eat lunch. You built a company from nothing but couldn't see what was right in front of you for 3 years. And then Vegas happened, and somehow, against all logic, we found each other. You make me laugh, you make me think. You make me believe in possibilities I never considered. I don't know what I did to deserve you, but I promise to spend our life together figuring it out. I love you, deliberately, consciously, completely. This time I'll remember every word. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the officiant said. Again, for real this time. You may kiss. Garrett didn't wait for him to finish. He pulled me close and kissed me like his life depended on it, and the garden erupted in applause. The reception was everything a wedding should be, chaotic, joyful, and filled with love. We had our first dance to a jazz version of The Way You Look Tonight. Garrett whispered the lyrics in my ear, off-key but perfect. Victoria gave a toast that made everyone cry. Lennox gave a toast that made everyone laugh and some people blush. My brothers threatened Garrett in the most loving way possible. During the cake cutting, we went with Aunt Margaret's lemon raspberry but served all 5. Garrett leaned over and whispered, "Should we tell them we're already planning the honeymoon?" "We are? 2 weeks. Amalfi Coast. I already cleared your schedule." Presumptuous. Confident. He fed me a bite of cake. "So, what do you say, Mrs. Hawthorne?" I pretended to consider it. "Will there be good coffee?" "The best." "Then yes." As the night wound down, we stood on the terrace overlooking the gardens, watching our guests dance and celebrate. "We did it," I said. "We did." Garrett pulled me closer. "Real wedding, real vows, real everything. No regrets? Not a single one." He kissed the top of my head. "Well, maybe one." "What's that?" "That I waited so long to tell you how I felt. We could have had years already. We have years ahead," I reminded him. "A whole lifetime." "A whole lifetime," he repeated like he was trying out the words. I liked the sound of that. Later, as we said goodbye to the last guests, Lennox pulled me aside. "You know what the best part is?" she asked. "What?" "You two stopped pretending to be in love and just, fell. The real thing is always better than the performance." She was right. The fake marriage had been convenient, safe, controlled. The real marriage was messy and scary and uncertain. It was also everything. 6 months later, Sloan Hawthorne, Senior Vice President of Finance, reporting for her first executive meeting, I said, walking into the conference room. Garrett looked up from his papers and smiled. "Welcome to the team, VP Hawthorne." "Why, thank you, CEO Hawthorne." I took my seat at the table. "Shall we begin?" The meeting was standard business, quarterly reports, projections, strategies. But every so often, Garrett's foot would find mine under the table. A small reminder that we were partners in every sense. After everyone left, I stayed behind to gather my things. "So," Garrett said, leaning against the table, "how does it feel? First day as a VP?" "Surreal, terrifying, amazing." I grinned. "I earned this, right? Not just because I'm married to the CEO. You earned this 3 years ago. I was just too stupid to promote you then." He pulled me close. "You're brilliant, Sloan. Everyone in this company knows it. The only person who doubted it was you. I don't doubt it anymore." "Good." He kissed me softly. "What do you say we celebrate? Dinner at that place you love? The one with the impossible reservation list? I'm the CEO. I have connections." I laughed. "Using your power for good, I approve." As we walked out of the building together, hand in hand, I thought about that morning in Vegas, waking up confused, panicked, married to a stranger. Except he wasn't a stranger. Not really. He was my future, just waiting for me to be brave enough to see it. "What are you thinking about?" Garrett asked. "About how lucky we are, that we were drunk enough to be stupid but sober enough to sign the right papers." He laughed. That full, genuine laugh I loved. Best mistake of my life. Mine too. We'd started as a fake marriage born from tequila and poor judgment. We'd become the real thing through patience, courage, and choice. And every day we chose each other. Again and again and again. That was the real vow. Not the words we'd said in Vegas or the ones we'd repeated in the gardens, but the quiet, daily decision to be partners, to be honest, to be brave, to be us. And it was perfect. The end.